I don't know any student who's homeless, but I do know students who are suffering out there, who have families who don't take care of them. They just like have families as a matter of words, we have a family, but they're not there for them as how families are supposed to be there for them.
If they were, I think they'd be hiding it greatly. I mean, really well. But if we did know one, I mean, we would help, right? As students, we'd go, ask questions, you know, privately, obviously. We don't want to embarrass them, make them feel low. And yeah, we just say, hey, you're all right, how are things at home? Maybe find out how they get to school every day.
Yes, I do know a student who's hungry, but he's not really homeless. He's actually a friend of mine. It's not really a place where you know, it's not a safe environment, it's not a clean environment.
I know a few students who are homeless due to drug abuse, their backgrounds. Some of them, they are influenced through this blesser issue that's been enrolling, and they find themselves being promised the luxurious houses, everything, every good gold, diamond shining. They glue and they groom themselves to that, and they believe in it rather than believing in making a worth out of themselves through education and stuff. They lose the interest and the essential of education and womaning up. We get lost on the sister code. We confuse ourselves with that by the fashion, the style, and all that leads us to sleeping and begging for food in the streets, suffering of illnesses, diseases, and etc.
Dumelang re la mogela mo Daily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Nakalina kina Tumelo slogolo sa mathomo sa Mothotoane lo khone re tla bolela about some of the challenges shelling gore of course ramana le tsona as baswa as bathwaleng gore ba sekolong ke a tseba gore ga ntse re pherelela about funding roll about some sort of resources are needing as the students fela ge asiyona fela also accommodation is a problem.
Thanda kubanzima kakhulu namhlanje sobe sibheka nje ukuthi beseshile ukuthenini ungabi na indawo yokuhlala nendlala ku affecta kanjani njengomfundi ngoba ucwaningo lusho nje ukuthi u80% wabafundi abakwazi ukuthi bathole indawo kahle beqala banethuba eliningi ukuthi baqhubeke nokufunda but abanye bagcina sebezinto engalungile thothi ne-family ayikwazi uku-afford ukuthi uthole indawo yokuhlala.
Kinithi reskelebala ge gore if you would like to share your story or utsiba motho mong o leng gore o ko sekolong lena wa sokola ka taba tsa gore kry accommodation, you can call us live in studio. Our number 011-339-1315, or you can go to Facebook and Twitter, Kirna at Daily_Thetha, and on Instagram, Kirna Daily Thetha_SABC1.
If ma ukuthi ngempela unenkinga mhlawumbe uyawazi sikhuluma ngani ayikazi affect indaba ukuthi wena ungayithola indawo sikhlanganisela umbiko nawo as Daily Thetha ukuze ukwazi ukuthi ubone ukuthi kukulimaza kanjani njengomfundi ungabisenayo indawo yokuhlala nemali yokudla isekho isimo sakho nasigcina sesinjani njengomfundi awubheke ke.
University. I guess that was because of my background, not having exposure, not having anyone in the house learning Lena Ojago, a degree, a motivator, like a role model, like things like that. Kasponori Humane Skolo, University of Limpopo, or like in Polokwane, like one of the colleges as Humane School. And then I went to UJ. I remember that year. I mean, like every year, I guess it happens at UJ. So we didn't actually manage to get in. On our way back, it was me and my sister, Rabona Vet, and we found out about applying. And what happened was like I didn't have enough money on me to actually apply on that day. But musado nartusha okay, let's go wara like the fill the form, then utlabuwa ko sa pate. I was very lucky because I had that money from the social grant that I had saved up. It was at that time in Elibuma 3,000 when I started attending adverts. It got to a point where the money ran out. So what I did is then I got decided, I'm gonna actually get a school, then get a Raika Friday. Until ibile struggle, ibile affect performance on that first semester is access to all the resources, academic resources. I saw the result at the end of the end of first semester, first year. Get the result. You get an email from VET saying you're facing exclusions, your fees are not paid. On top of that, you have failed. You have failed. I've failed 3 modules. That was very difficult. That was there. I'm like, okay, what was this whole thing for?
I meant to be so when he emailed me. I got an email from a young man telling me that he was in these dire straits.
The first thing she did was to give me a textbook and regular memory stick. I'm for the slides, the reading, see the video, or catch up with all the work that I had missed. Bana ba school ba loreng abana plek ya go dula abana plek dijo abana they are facing a lot of problems. They are facing big problems, and it's not easy for them. That's the one thing that I can say. Or like, it's not every time you're not sure of what's the next thing that's going to be thrown at you. It's not something that I'll wish for anyone. But I think definitely, because at some point, if you're not lucky, you don't actually realize your potential. Your potential becomes your situation.
Daily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sikhuluma ngokubaleka nobuhlungu okungamnayo indawo nokudla emfundeni ephakeme, and so sithathe nembuzo yakho ke sikhona na ku Facebook na ku Twitter as well. Daily_Thetha on Facebook, Daily_Thetha on Twitter as well.
And if on your television screens, we're on Facebook Live actually. We're live right now. So you can go to Facebook or one of the whole full program there. About some of the challenges that you've been through. But just coming back to the studio, we have a gentleman Olongore. You have a comment or question for us regarding our topic?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, kunezinto esiphila njengoba siphila lapha kulomhlaba. We live in the world that has needs and wants. So education is one of the wants, it's not a need. But food and shelter is a need. So this means I can survive without education, but I can never survive without food and shelter.
Is there somebody else? Anyone else who agreeing with this? Yes.
Yeah, look, I agree with him. Fundamentally, when he says, food and shelter are a necessity. But I think in the modern day, education is also a need, and it's a social need that I think the government has to start prioritizing. And education is not in isolation of all other socio-economic issues, because even stats will tell you and research that if someone is not well fed, if they don't have a proper accommodation, it becomes difficult for them to perform. But I think the fundamental problem we have here is that you have the state, which is lacking to take education into priority as it is, and therefore it shelves the matter to institutions as well as SRC to most instances, because if the university can intervene, then it becomes an SRC problem. And those two institutions do not have the capacity to solve that particular problem, because these things don't start this year. They don't start last year. So you only need
assistance from the state, or is there some sort of help we can get from society, corporates, from communities?
Look, fundamentally, we need everyone to participate. But the state, as the custodian of the people, must be the one that enforces that participation. You cannot expect people on their own to go to the corporate and say, you must contribute. It should be done legislatively so. So it's the state's responsibility as the custodian to ensure that all stakeholders of society participate in ensuring that education becomes a social priority that it is.
Thank you so much.
And I see also on Facebook, Nagu Twitter, about comment about this. There's a comment coming from Tez. Why doesn't government build RDP houses for students near to schools, Mara? They are free so that students stop paying for IRES.
That's very interesting. They're also seeking for states to take some accountability and to assist. Another one, or if students have accommodation, it means they feel comfortable to study and to do research freely. I'm thinking also from Tabiso, it affects you mentally, it affects you socially. There's also a safe place to study or any shelter whatsoever, and you have to concentrate on your studies.
Yona studio number guess now leo zothola kuyona Daily Thetha ikhona njengamanje siyabuya after it all.
la amogela lebeletse Daily Thetha gona mo gae mo SABC 1 Mzansi for sure le gonne le about bana ba leng gore ba dithutong tša bona mara e fela ge ba itshokolela because accommodation ke ntho e leng gore e buima ka nnete go e kry-a a re nyake fela tšhelete e leng gore tla riša sekolong mara nyaka le tšhelete e leng gore tla kgona gore accommodate. And I think we've seen some of the protests around the country from bana ba leng gore they took a stand go lwela ditokelo tša bana ba leng gore they need accommodation. So gopela re founele on 011 339 1315 lona o re botse ka perhaps testimony ya gago motlho mo o bone bana ba leng gore ba sokola on your campus. Mara ke a kuša ga gore Nhlakanipho, you're on the line. Welcome to Daily Thetha.
Hello.
Hello. O kae Nhlakanipho?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well, thanks. Can you just do me a favor and turn down the volume on your TV and listen through your phone, ne?
Okay.
Thank you so much, my dear. Your comment or question for topic here today? Nhlaga? Askis. I didn't mean to scare you off. I'm so sorry. Mara, please call us on 011 339 1315.
Njengoba sibona ke Tumi namhlanje sinamanye ama students akhona njengamanje Mathapelo Makadinisa unjani ma? From and no Tulani Masilela as well, a UP student. We are phila mfethu.
Ngiyaphila kunjani baba?
Bafethu before sisiqhubeke no double lethu ngifuna nje ningithathe through ama backgrounds wenu ngezi topic esikhuluma ngayo namhlanje ukuthi ningobani and ama backgrounds wenu anjani.
Mina nguMathapelo Makadinisa ngifunda University of Pretoria. Le ndaba yokungabi nendawo yokuhlala it's been happening at University of Pretoria. As someone who has been part of student activism, I've heard abantu saying ukuthi ngilale library, ngilale toilet, ngile esikolweni ngacela indawo yokuhlala, azange ngathola usizo. So dala ngazi ngale ndawo le, and I did not expect to one day find myself in this situation. University says that they place people based on their academic performance, but then people are performing academically. You'll find students with the average yaga 65. Umuntu wakhona uhlala from another province, maybe KZN. Makafika la esikolweni expect ukuthi uzothola indawo yokuhlala. Akayitholi indawo. While basitshela ukuthi if you perform kahle academically uzothola indawo. Uthola amanye ama student wa academically excluded, not because he fault yabo, but because external factors disturb them during the academic year yabo. Last year we had the online system. Ama students amaningi aphuwa, they rely on NSFAS. They can't afford to buy laptops, tablets, and whatsoever. University restricted access, and most of the students were affected. They could not write some online exam wabo. Because ibati fine, they have it's Wi-Fi, you can use it. But what do you do with your Wi-Fi when you don't have the devices?
Yeah. So need the resources of course.
Then by open our labs, they close them at a certain time. Ufika ku lab uthola kugcwele. What are you supposed to do?
So hopefully kusha Mathapelo, when are you also part of the students sharing or you struggled ka accommodation of University of Pretoria?
Yes.
Unala accommodation or you still struggling?
Thursday.
Okay. And then Tulani wena?
Okay, my name is Tulani Masilela. Ngivela elokishini lase Soshanguve. I've been ngiyasokola nje nge-accommodation. Ngi-third year student University of Pretoria. Onyakeni wami wokuqala okwaku 2015 ngafika University of Pretoria. My average was good. Nga-apply for accommodation. I was placed in March. So between January no March benganandawo yokuhlala, and that affected me academically, which then kwenza ukuthi ngikhishwe eRes at the end of the year. Second year ngahlupheka futhi ngendawo yokuhlala. Now I'm in my third year kumanje anginandawo yokuhlala. We are being accommodated at a nearby church lapha next to the school, next to the university.
Accommodation in the meantime.
In the meantime, we are being accommodated to the school. But before that, we have been sleeping at campus, kuma libraries, and kuma toilets.
Thanda kuba nzima kakhulu, and now ungasifonela ekhaya ubukela iDaily Thetha nje ku 011 339 1315 siphumelele. Okay, Mohau. Hello Mohau. Oh, sebalekile. Usabalekile. Khona into ngifuna ukuyibuza again kukwena la Mathapelo ukuthi as abantu besifazane siyasiza ukuthi abanye babagcina sebezithola nama blesser and abanye bayithola sebekhipithile. Kuye kwafika kuleso simo where you think ukuthi you know what to go and ngihlale noThulani kungangisiza kakhulu nokuthi ngihambe ngilale ema-res, ngihambe ngilale emasontweni, ngilale nasema libraries as well.
I think the first thing if I need to consider people face different situations.
Yeah.
Mina maybe nginenhlanhla nginabangani abangangi-accommodator for evening. omunye umuntu ustrugglisha to a point whereby akanayo option ekhaya kukude akanayo imali yokugibela itaxi noma itrain yokubuyela ekhaya so angeke ngiyifake ecathulweni zomunye umuntu ongayithola kuleyo situation leyo.
And then Arabile ngapeka commentary kwileng just earlier on about, or host now accommodation ko school, and then the weight lies on my SRC members, as you mentioned, and also the institutions of higher learning. Ilela leka go kopa tusho perhaps from your educators like Thabiso Ugileko, Professor Inesketa gore am kope tuso. Have you been to anyone ko skolong gore ali tusheng, or is it something eleng gore ile le ba swadi fela mhlomnge le ba leng gore going through it le bona?
No, kwindaba ya accommodation sile kwi management ya University of Pretoria. Bayazi ukuthi asinandawo yokuhlala, bayazi nokuthi sihlala kuphi. Kwaqala what we called the hashtag UPRS crisis because of that, ngoba besinganayo indawo yokuhlala, and then we have been going to them continuously. They have not been helping us. Even the so-called TRC esinayo lapha is anti-black and is anti-poor. It's excluding us from AMARES. So we must make sure that this thing is solved as quickly as possible, because we are suffering academically.
Yeah. Okay, I believe ukuthi ukhona njengamanje uSithembiso eseThekwini. Sithembiso?
Yes, ayo.
Yes, sikhona mfethu waphila wena?
Ngiyaphila. My comment is just down there. I'm just a former student from TUT, and it's very painful, especially on that issue of accommodation. You'll find that even students who are NSFAS beneficiaries, you find that if an NSFAS beneficiary, if you don't find a residence or a rest of a university, then NSFAS don't pay for your accommodation. So which means that NSFAS is covering everything, but it is saying that it is not covering your accommodation. Then you came to ask yourself as to how is this happening, because that NSFAS, I'm going to pay it at the end of the day, it alone. And then NSFAS is expecting me to pass in an average that they want. They will also talk about academic level to say that if I dropped academically, I will not get NSFAS the following year. So it's very painful, the issues that the students in this country they are facing. But I'm very lucky to find shows of this nature trying to share the stories that are being felt by students at university level. It's very painful because even NSFAS student beneficiaries, my point was just there on NSFAS issue, that even us NSFAS beneficiaries, we found that we don't have accommodations. We live somewhere, then at the end of the day, you are expected to pass academically. NSFAS is telling you that we are not going to fund you the following year. After then, you are having a debt. After then, you are not able to get your qualification. Thank you very much.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Tumi njengoba bewushile eqaleni nawo NSFAS invitile la kwisho kwabe bangakwazi ukuthi bafike as well as education as well ukuthi bazosichazela icase yabo, but abakwazanga ngenxa ukuthi bathe ukubambeka kancane.
That's very true. All right, Tutu on the line. Welcome. Tutu?
Hello.
Hello, okay, mama?
Ngiyaphila njani?
Nami ngiyaphila sis. Khuluma nathi.
Hello.
Hello, yes, Tutu. Yes, talk to us.
Yes, we are struggling with accommodation for my cousin. Now, I'm talking to you right now.
I'm listening, Tutu.
Khuluma mama.
Yeah, my cousin has been admitted at Boston. We are currently a poor family, so we are struggling with accommodation. Where we go, they want higher amounts that we cannot afford. Now he's standing in the street. She's saying that today she's going to sleep at the hall.
And then have you tried to interact with the SRC, his institution of higher learning, or the institution?
Yes, I did. But they said because we could not afford the declined us of the accommodation. So the school said they cannot provide because she was admitted at Boston.
All right. Well, Tutu, hopefully we can have answers for you today. Ne? Thank you so much for your call. I return back to the hashtag Kayona as well to learn. I think you said UP accommodation crisis. How effective are these hashtags? People are trying to raise awareness on social media to try and seek assistance from the state, from corporates, from any community member or can raise funding. How effective are they, do you think?
For us, it has worked because after we started the UPRS crisis, a lot of people were aware that so we got immediate attention. People wanted to hear our stories. So after that, the university started doing their job. Abantu started being placed where they were put in waiting list. Nambengule situation waiting list. I was number 1, and then I was placed, the next day I was number 2. And then 2 other people who were below me were placed in that residence and apply. So basically this shows ukuthi bekune space ukuleyo resleyo. And then the next day, that was Thursday, that's when I got the placement. So ngiyazibuza ukuthi all this time beningitshela ukuthi akuna space, le space isibuyaphi.
Okay. Just sesivala nje Thulani ngenxa yesikhathi. Umbono wakho nje wokugcina kuzokwenzakalani kusukela manje?
I think what we must ask ourselves is why is it that more than 20 years qeda ukuthola inkululeko kule lizwe umuntu omnyama is still suffering? It is because the government led by the former liberal movement has failed us. So into ekumele yenzeke now ukuthi we as the students and then we as the cooperatives must come together and then look for a solution, because at the end of the day our universities are not looking to benefit us, they are looking to benefit themselves because they are running as businesses themselves. So they are not in actual fact running as public institutions. So we must look to come together to fight this.
All right, give us they need to be heard. They need accommodation to be met. We've seen them trying to make, hashtags selling, they're raising awareness, raise the funds in their own ways. So I think in Twelengor we're still going to find ways in which what can be done to stop good institutions of Highland in South Africa. You're watching Daily Thetha, and we'll be right back. Daily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. We're putting the spotlight on some of the challenges Baswa are facing in institutions of higher learning. They can't get funding, some can't get accommodation. And those are the realities of some of the students in tertiary institutions, and they've been crying out to the state, crying out to corporates to donate and give them bursaries, crying out to communities to come together through the hashtags on social media. So please call us on 011 3391315.
And job ubuzwile ke kuma students esisuka kuona njengamanje sesiya kuma student leaders abake babakhulu kuma social network bekhuluma about i-rest crisis ekuyathola momentum exake ngendlela esimangaliso, and so besikhuluma nabo so introducela ngokuhamba ngesikhathi, but njengamanje do you have someone osifonele on the line? Khola kunjani?
Hi, my name is Tsekofatu Maleka. I am from Pretoria, Mamelodi. And yes, right now I'm facing a situation whereby I cannot go back to school or register, and I study at UWC because I owe tuition fees and accommodation fees, and because of that I don't have my results with me, so I can't even apply for any bursary. And my dad is in a situation where he can't pay my fees right now. So yeah, that's my situation.
And so what help have you tried getting in terms of, sort of like solving your issue? Have you tried contacting the institution, just to give you some sort of a bailout so you can continue studying? Have you tried seeking a loan? Have you tried NSFAS? Tell us what you've tried doing.
The thing is, I've tried applying for NSFAS, but they say I can't apply for funding because I don't have my results, my latest results. But then also at my institution, they say I must pay 50% of my outstanding tuition fees. However, I actually don't have that 50%.
And how much is that 50% roughly, if you can share that with us?
It's plus minus 10,000 rand.
All right, sure, that's a lot of money. All right, so hopefully we'll get some help for you today, just in terms of information, what to do as a student. Thank you so much for your call.
Okay, I think it's now Futo Munyululu from Etembisa. Lulu.
Hello.
Kunjani ma?
Ngisaphila njani?
Ngikhona mama. Ithini comment yakho or umbuzo nawo about ushare namhlanje?
No, I want to say that we should also help ourselves by preparing for the future. Like, it's not entirely the government's fault. However, we should also, like, our parents should also prepare for abantwana babo in advance.
What about laba abazali ke abanga afford ke bona?
Abanga afford.
Yes.
Yeah, kona I understand ukuthi bakhona abanga afford. However, bancane, and if the government focus kulabo nje kuphela, then we go far. Abazali that can should do something to prepare, and not say Funama field must fall, but then they should say to the government, this is what we've saved. Unlike putting the responsibility entirely on the government.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu ngombono wakho mama ne.
Thank you so much, Lulu, for commenting. Let's meet our guests. Kifensem Kari and, of course, Naledi Chirwalino. You're both student activists and leaders in your own right. And I think it's fair to say, Hore, you've been at the forefront, you know, of trying to sort of like do something about the student accommodation crisis, of course, in the country. Naledi, as a student leader yourself or an activist, you're trying to they need accommodation, go to institutions of higher learning. What are their plight? Go to plight fellow they deal with on a daily basis.
I mean, the accommodation situation is directly linked to land disposition. Black people don't have land, and that's why we don't have residences, even institutions. You know, it's not only racialized, it's gendered as well. Because these institutions absorb a lot. The majority of students are black women, black girls. Now, when you take these people who are dispossessed of land, who don't have resources, who are trying to make means to further themselves forward, and you put them in a space where they don't have accommodation, what can they do? They are forced into involuntary sex work, and unfortunately, that's the honest truth. That's what's happening. That is the life of black students. You force them into these conditions, and then on top of that, they can't even perform because they don't have the right nutrients. They don't have transport, even if they do get accommodation. Because some institutions don't have, you know, transport facilities. Like, for instance, in fact, in TVET colleges, it's worse because there's no residences to start with. You know.
From SRC ukuthi ikhona ne link between ungayithola indawo kwabafundi and ngendlela abadropa out esikoleni.
Look, there is a direct link because if you're from the Eastern Cape, perhaps in some rural area, you are here, you took the last money that your grandmother got as a pension to come here. And when you get here, you struggle with accommodation. You are forced to sleep first before you even register to sleep at Park Station for the whole week without even getting food. Now, when you are supposed to register, you are told that you need an upfront fee payment. So the climate in itself forces people to really withdraw and say, Yazin, I'd rather go back home. At least there I'm with my peers who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. Because you must understand that once you don't have accommodation in such a space, you look at other people have residences, there's pressure. And immediately that kind of withdraws you within the society. And hence you find a lot of people failing even at the end of the day, not because they're incapable, because their self-esteem is lowered to that level, they can't even come to the next person and say, I need assistance.
But Kifetsulana, in your comment, you mentioned Hore, it's something Elung cannot just, you know, be directly sort of like directed towards the state, because the pressure ailing on the SRC members, management, receiving these students on a daily basis. As management, SRC, as the student leaders.
I'll speak from the SRC perspective to say the first office that the student relates with when they enter campus is the SRC office. And now, even right now, I can tell you that school has started. I've never attended a single class because you have students who are perpetually wanting to see you to say, we don't have accommodation, we don't have food, we don't know what must happen. And now, it really defeats even the purpose of the SRC in itself because, you know, in as much as we assist students in that situation, but we also have other governance work that we must focus on. So we end up really being reduced to being beggars on behalf of students. And sometimes you have institutions like VETS who would say, simply, there's no money, there's nothing that we can do. And I feel that it's very unfair. And in fact, I blame the state even more because how do you say as an institution you have a population of over 30,000 people, but you can only accommodate 6,000 people. That's not even 7%. Sure. You know.
Naledi, ngifuna ukuza kuwena la kunama allegations akhona ukuthi especially abantu besifazane bayithola in a situation where they have to sleep with someone to get accommodation. How true is that?
It's true, but that's the normal conditions of black women, even our communities at home. You know, with house-led, child-led households, that's the situation. But my concern really is how, for instance, South Point is a student accommodation stuff, né? Those people get funding from the PIC, which means they take money from our grandparents' pension money, but they still can't invest in the very same people that fund their business. That's the nature of all of this. And then at most, the government keeps on promising us things. They're saying that by 2020, 30% of accommodation will be set out and all of that. And it's 2017. They haven't even reached halfway of that target. How are they going to do it in 3 years? You know, we have a government that's unwilling to do all these things. They don't even go to these institutions. We don't see them. We only see them on TVs, on Parliament, and they talk with us, about us, as if they've been with us, but they haven't really.
And while you're talking, I'm hearing about, you know, the sort of like the allegation you're making against, you know, that particular company that's housing students, and also the numbers you're John about the challenges that young people face. But I know from UP, as a matter of fact, student leaders from UP, sort of like accused of faking news and stories about the reality study students, they lack accommodation. How true or false is that?
It's amazing, really, because exactly this time last year, we were protesting not only Afrikaans, but before that, we were protesting for accommodation. And exactly a year later, UP goes and makes an accommodation space for Afrikaners only. And Christians. They're saying we want Afrikaners and Christians. Like, to be considered to state that resume, must write an essay of 150 words to say why Afrikaans shall play, and that how much of a Christian values and all of that. That's the nature of these institutions. They only function on the basis of making money out of our poverty and humiliating us and disgracing us, because now we have to protest and show people, look, I'm this poor, look, I'm this inhuman. They dehumanize us further all the time, and they have no shame. How do you fund or even participate with a so-called private accommodation space that only accommodates African students? And what is the state saying about that? About the illegality of that?
We're going to come back to that. Thank you so much, Naledi. We're going to come back to the comment.
But now Moseka as well, for us phone 011339 1315 usabukela Daily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sabukela Daily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sikhuluma ngendaba ebalekile indlala nongakwazi ukuthola indawo kakhulukazi kwama students okwaphoqelela ukuthi sigcinene engabe saphofema kahle noma benze izinto nje ezinkulu esingazi nokuthi nakhona bazoyichaza kanjani. And njengamanje futhi sobe sithatha nama calls wakho ku 011339 1315. Thembi from Tembisa.
Hello.
Kunjani mama?
Ngiyaphila kunjani?
Sikhona. Uthini i-comment yakho okanye umbuzo wakho?
I-comment yami umntanami ufunda bekafunda e-TUT a-year last. Enza i-human resource. So naye waswela i-accommodation. So we try ukuthi sizame ukuthi simtholele accommodation indawo besiya kuzo bathi 3.6, 3.7, 3 point something, of which I'm a single parent and I'm not working. So uze wadropa out.
So
ukhona manje uhlele ekhaya.
So when Athembu uyakholela ukuthi ungayithola indawo kwabafundi ikhona okuholela ekuthenini iningi labo begcine bengasafundi.
Yes, because mina ngihlala eThembisa, so every day bengizama ukuthi at least ngumgibeze like 60 rand or 70 rand transport plus imali yokudla. So kwathola ukuthi seyangihlula leyo nto. Anginayo leyo 60 rand a day because I'm unemployed.
Okay.
And I'm a single mother. So uhleli manje ekhaya kenzi next. So please, I need help. What must I do? Because uyafuna ukufunda.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu mama ngecall yakho and sithemba ukuthi ukuphela kohlelo lanamhlanje kukhona ozobe usukufundile ne?
All right, thank you so much, Tembir Lebara Commentara. Well, right now, though, we're joined in studio by Enid Skitter, of course, lecturer at University of Witwatersrand under psychology. Of course, that's the sort of like the course that you teach, and you also help Tabby, so we saw you in the insert, the helping Tabby. So we also have Candace Uester, you're the media relations officer at the University of Pretoria. So let's start with you, Candace, and the allegations that we've heard regarding, you know, the University of Pretoria. And Naledi, of course, did allude to the fact that there was some fake news allegations against student leaders from UP, you know, against some of the protests and campaigns that they were trying to make in raising awareness for students who needed accommodation. How true or false is it in as far as the university is concerned?
The evening in question was when university management as well as the temporary student committee engaged with students on campus. They were on campus after hours and they were looking for accommodation, saying that they required accommodation. Upon engaging with these students, it was the university first of all offered them accommodation. They then refused this accommodation on the evening. We then interrogated the situation further, questioned the students, and it turned out that 4 of the students that were part of the 10-person party were not, in fact, University of Pretoria students. 2 of them already accommodated in Rays. The one student that we could assist, we did assist with accommodation that evening.
All right.
Okay, I think, Naledi, you wanted to say something about what she recently said.
I'm surprised that we can have someone from management to come on national TV, you know, amongst everyone else and come and lie, say a blatant lie about the situation of students. There was no management that came to that protest that night. In fact, they were nowhere to be found. We've been contacting these people for years. And I'm saying years because the period of 3 months is a long time for someone to not to be homeless. And they were never there. We had to protest. That's when they started acting, because that's our relationship with the University of Pretoria. They only hear us when we do things to affect their money business making scheme. That's when they respond to us. If we sit down and just tweet, they have no problem. But the moment we take to the streets, that's when they respond. And it's very funny that she comes and she lies to us and we are just here. Here are your students, here. They're everywhere here. How do you protect the face of white people who criminalize us every day for our hunger and then come here and do that?
Let's
you can't
ask
do that.
Candace, lie is a very big allegation. Just to confirm, what is management doing about this problem right now?
It is unfortunate that I personally have been accused of lying. I am just stating fact that I am aware of at the university. What I can say is before the night that we are all referring to, the university and especially the Department of Residence Affairs and Accommodation has been tirelessly on a daily basis working to accommodate students. It is what they do every single day, is accommodate students. And if I can just state further that we have a student body of almost 50,000 contact students. That means students that actually come to the university every day. And out of those students, we can only accommodate about 15% of that student body. And that is a resource issue. We have got residences, we have arrangements with private residence providers in the community. And we foster these relationships to the point that we are able to negotiate that these private residences drop the deposits. I mean, I think within the last few days, only one of the residences has asked, can they at least charge an administrative fee? Otherwise, we managed to negotiate that they even drop their deposit fees.
Thank you very much. Aneth, I want to come back to you. You have helped most of the students, not only the one that you saw on the clip, but 22 years later, why are we still having the same problem, according to you?
I think it's resources. I think we're doing too little too late. I think we're expecting too much too fast, and we're doing too little too late, and that has made that gap huge. I think the problem that we face is more than has come out. The gentleman earlier said he didn't think education was a need. I think education is a need. I don't think it's a want. I think if we're going to transform what we did in the past and our legacy of apartheid, where people, sorry, I know you don't like white people, but some of us really, we do care. You know, that apartheid actually caused post-traumatic stress disorder in individuals. If you continuously are told by society, by other people, you're not good enough. You were not allowed here. You're not allowed to do that. You're only made to get this far. It's a death threat. It's a death threat to your self-esteem, right? So you've got post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a very, so I think it's a need, and I just, when you commented on that, I think for the self-esteem of our individual, to build our country, education is a need.
Now, Enid, let's talk about Thabiso specifically, because I actually was in class with Thabiso in our first year psychology, so you actually lectured us psychology. I remember Thabiso very well. When you met Thabiso, yes, when you met Thabiso, in what state was he in, and how much did it need for you, to assist him, to sort of get him back on track? Because he mentioned that he got an email from Wits about being excluded, about failing his modules. It affected him mentally. It affected his home, because then he had to think, I need to go back home. How much did you need to support him to get back on track?
He sent the email to me in error. He thought he was sending it to his lecturer, and I was his course coordinator. I received this email that told me that I am living in the library. I'm a mother. My boys are all in their age, all of my boys are adopted, but all in the age of to be so. To have, and I know I'm going to get resistance, they're still children to me, they need caring for. So he sent me this mail, I said, we can't have this, come to me, we've got to fix it. He came up to me and he was scared to come into me. I'm loud, I'm scary. I think it's very difficult for the students to face, as much as our SRC president said, the SRC they go to, the person that students know is their lecturer. True. That is their person of authority. That's the person, and they do come to you.
Yeah, it's the first point of contact.
I don't think that we are in the loop enough with what the SRC is facing, what management is doing about it. I do feel we need to be put more in the loop so that we can answer those questions and direct students in the right direction.
Okay. No, I feel it. Still on that one. So we are before nje we break so sikutshembisa ukuthi ekhaya lapho so besinikeza audience yethu ithuba lokuthi phawule about this so besikhuluma nawo wonke umuntu. If usekhaya as well, give us a call on 011-339-1315 or daily_Thetha usabukela Daily Thetha no SABC 1. Sabukela Daily Thetha no SABC 1 Mzansi for sure njengoba besishilo kwesisotho nje ama comments ehambeli zethu and then start nama calls futhi and simnikeze ne studio audience ethi ithuba lokuthi ibhodla but lolu dab because ngiyabona ngathi yabashisa kakhulu Tumi.
All right, let's start with you gentlemen. Ngiyabona ukuthi microphone, you're ready to comment.
Yes. Thank you very much. As I'm a student activist in the University of Pretoria, I am currently suspended due to all these things which affect a black child. Yes, I'm a suspended student since September. And the university is doing nothing about that. So like even the spokesperson of the University of Pretoria, whatever she's saying here, I beg to differ about that because I've dealt with accommodation things. Because like now we are failing to deal with those accommodation issues because we are restricted to enter campus. Every time we have to enter campus, there should be a queue, a long queue. They must scan your card. So we're treated as criminals now, as prisoners now. That's how University of Pretoria is operating at this moment. And University of Pretoria is very racist because, like she said, lady, they have an accommodation which caters for what? For Afrikaner students only. And in all the residents they have, 60+%, it caters for what? For white people only. So as a black child, you are disadvantaged because you come very far and you can't get accommodation because you're a black child. In the queues we have for accommodation, queuing to the accommodation management, only black people are queuing. So white people, they never queue. So white people, the privilege, I don't know how they are being placed. They are placed, some of them, they stay nearby, 500 meters away. That's where they stay, they are home. White people, they are driving. But they stay nearby, but they're given rest. When you come a long way from Eastern Cape, from whatsoever, but you fail to get accommodation. So UP management and all the other institutions, they are still racist.
Let's address that with Candace. Let's address these racial issues that are coming from the commentaries. Are white students go UP given priority over black students?
Of course not. Never. So what I can tell you is that in our residences, 60+% of our residents, students are black students. That is an actual statistical figure on our books of children that are residing within the university residences.
And compared to the Afrikaner race, what's the percentage?
So I want to address that issue very, very specifically about the Afrikaans-only residents. That is not a University of Pretoria residence. It is a private residence. It does not fall under tax res, and we are not associated, and they are not associated with the University of Pretoria in any way. None of our qualifying criteria for residence include gender, race, or class. Nobody is given preference over anybody. We have very specific criteria that we put in place, and it's about your eligibility in terms of your academic record, as well as, unfortunately, it is a reality, your NSFAS, whether that has been provided to you.
A quick one. Matapela, I think you want to add something as well?
I want to comment on what she said, firstly, about students staging a crisis at the university. Firstly, I was there. Tulani was also there that night. We were at the student center. Usually students are allowed to stay there, use the internet and whatsoever. The security started gathering up with bouncers. It was 20-something bouncers over a few students who were studying. They don't have a place to stay, who prefer to study than to sleep on the streets. And then the securities and bouncers came in and started pushing people around. There was a pregnant girl there who, yes, did have placement, but was there with abangan back to sit and do umsebenzi wakhe wesikolo. The lady was pushed around. After she exited the campus, the bouncers came straight to her and then they slapped her. A case was opened. We have a case number and everything else. And another thing is, if you are saying, Guti, most of the students who are placed in residencies are black. We can go to the residencies now and check what's happening there. There's a resident policy that is, we as students, student activists, cannot even access those policies because they know it's a shame. If the media finds out and other bodies outside of the university find out what is happening, that itself is wrong. It's a racial segregation. Even in residencies, when a white person is placed in a two sharing, the white person can't be placed with a black person because of what do they call it? Cultural differences.
All right.
So a white person will end up sleeping in a room that is meant for two people.
I hear more people commenting. Are there any other comments? I hear people going, Naledi, you've spoken before. Let's just give somebody another chance. Yes, gentlemen. Do you have a comment?
Yes, I do have a comment. Number one, actually, how can there be non-students in University of Pretoria at the moment where you actually have to be scanned into campus? There are long queues of people and many people are being turned away because they are not yet registered. And the university is just giving unnecessary blocks to those people not to register actually. Number two, ever since I've been registered in University of Pretoria, I've been looking for residence, but then I ended up not having residence. Last year, I found a place in Sunnyside, which is not safe. And then this year, I had to accommodate more than 9 people in my place for about 3 weeks so that they can be able to fix their issues and attend campus.
All right.
And then another thing is, there were more than 10 people in the university during that night where they say they were staging things. They say Tulani was here. Tulani was actually found in the bathroom sleeping. Was not even staging.
All right.
Then they say that no, it's being staged, that thing.
We need those final comments from UP specifically to address those things. But before we get there, let's just take a look at a social media comment. We see one here from, I think it's at Lee Mangadi, who says, I love programs like this one where issues are getting ironed out. I think it's about time. But very briefly then, Candice, before we close and you in it, moving forward, what are your closing comments, please?
So the university does face challenges in terms of accommodating the sheer number of students that require accommodation. Every single day, we see students, we engage with students, and we encourage students to come to us. We have telephone numbers, we have email addresses that we can be engaged on, and up until the end of this month, we have got RES representatives that will be at the sports campus, and students that are experiencing problems with residences are please encouraged to come and engage with the university. It is important that we know what is going on so that we can assist wherever we can.
Okay, quick one, and just before we go.
Yeah, I think we actually need to sit at the drawing table and look at what we need. I think we need to speak to our engineering faculties. How can we create these physical buildings? I think we have to think about what we're demanding. Do we do a few students with individual rooms? Do we do shared rooms? Do we do dormitories with bunk beds that everybody can have? I think we need to go to the drawing board and look where we're going forward and start moving.
Thank you so much. Ines Kete, Candice Schuster, Naledi Shirod Matapelo, Tulani, thank you so much. Kifense, thank you so much for your commentary. Thank you so much for coming through. And to everybody else for in here in studio, for taking our comments, and also for calling us Molongwana Korae and sharing with us your plight right here in, of course, Daily Thetha.
Daily Thetha on SABC 1 yabuya nakusasa ungakhohlwa youth taking charge njengoba uzibonele nje uyasithola ku Facebook uyasithola ku Twitter nenamba yethu futhi uyathola ngaso sonke isikhathi.
Bye bye.
Siyabonga.